7 months of protests, people uniting from all walks of life, and a potential threat to democracy had camped outside the parliament. First, they vowed to not only allow members of parliament to enter the building.
Do you have the nerve to learn the shocking reality? Israel's religious communities have been rocked by a string of horrific occurrences. What dark forces are at work here? In what ways do you see these happenings testing your faith? Get ready to be terrified as we explore the disturbing mysteries that plague Israel. Can you take the shocking truths that are about to be revealed? The tragic events that took place in Israel have left people of religious faith frightened. People of many different faiths are feeling extremely anxious as a result of the recent uptick in violence and disturbance that has been experienced in this region over the past several months. The ongoing battles and confrontations have not only resulted in the loss of a significant number of lives, but they have also stoked fear and uncertainty inside the hearts of religious communities. Not only have those directly involved in the conflict been impacted by the rising tensions in the region, but also people who look to religion and spirituality for solace and direction in their everyday lives. The fact that places of worship, which are often seen as sanctuaries, have been the focus of attacks has increased the feeling of vulnerability among those who practice religion. Many people's very core beliefs have been called into question by the ever-present possibility of harm, prompting them to look for explanations and sources of reassurance during times of peril. The violence has prompted religious leaders to address their congregations in an effort to restore faith in the middle of the mayhem and offer prayers for peace. As events continue to unfold, the significance of maintaining unity and fostering understanding among people of all religious traditions becomes more and more clear. The shared aspiration for peace and safety opens the door to conversation and concerted efforts aimed at discovering areas in which all parties may agree. Individuals of religion are clinging to hope in the midst of these horrible circumstances, depending on their spiritual convictions to guide them through the obscurity that they are experiencing. Despite this, it is highly possible that the effects of these harrowing experiences will continue to reverberate strongly among the religious community for a considerable amount of time. The rebuilding of the temple in Israel was the subject of substantial debate, and it drew criticism from a variety of sources all across the world. Nevertheless, in spite of the difficulties and the opposition, the ambitious project proceeded in a consistent manner despite both of those factors. The proposal to reconstruct the ancient temple, which holds significant religious and historical meaning for the Jewish people, has aroused arguments all over the world. Several countries and international organizations have voiced their concerns over the potential geopolitical repercussions of the project, citing their fears that it could inflame existing tensions in the region. Despite this, the Israeli authorities have claimed that the rebuilding is within their sovereign right and is a demonstration of their cultural legacy. Israel has been engaging in discussions with foreign diplomats and world leaders in order to address the concerns that have been raised on a global scale. Their goal was to give their side of the story and calm the fears that have been expressed. They reaffirmed their commitment to peaceful coexistence with the nations that are neighboring them and to the protection of religious freedom for all faiths that are practiced in the region. The criticisms: there was consistent support in the home community for the rehabilitation initiative. A significant number of Israelis saw it as a significant step in reclaiming their historical identity and strengthening their roots. In addition, the government placed an emphasis on the cultural and tourism potential of the area, speculating that the renovated temple may become a symbol of global solidarity as well as a well-known destination for tourists from all over the world. The international community continued to keep a careful eye on the events while the building work went on, as they were understandably concerned about the potential effects that they could have on the delicate dynamics of the region. Time would be the only factor that could reveal the full impact of this extremely contentious attempt. The building of the Third Temple has been the subject of substantial debate for a number of reasons, the primary one being its contentious location on the Temple Mount, which is where the Dome of the Rock currently sits. Due to the fact that this spiritually significant landmark in Jerusalem carries tremendous historical and spiritual significance for both Jews and Muslims, various claims have been made regarding its ownership, and heated discussions have ensued. The Dome of the Rock is considered by Muslims to be one of the holiest locations in Islam because it is believed to be the location from which the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven during the event known as the Night Journey. Because of its significance in history and culture, Muslims all over the world consider it to be a symbol of their identity and heritage. As a consequence of this, any proposal to build the third temple on the same site is met with great opposition from the Muslim population, who are concerned that it may threaten their holy area. On the other hand, the Temple Mount is considered by Jews to be the holiest site in all of Judaism, since it is historically believed to be the location where both the first and second temple stood prior to being destroyed many years ago. Many Jews see the reconstruction of the third temple not just as a fulfillment of prophecy, but also as a symbol of their return to Jerusalem after centuries of being dispersed around the world. This yearning has its origins in religious as well as nationalistic impulses. Any attempt to build the third temple on the contested site is greeted with resistance and raises severe political and religious tensions, requiring careful deliberation and dialogue to achieve a peaceful and mutually respectful settlement. Given the sensitivity and complexity of the matter, any attempt to build the third temple on the contested site is met with resistance and raises serious political and religious tensions. Recent discoveries made beneath the Temple Mount by archaeologists have caused quite a stir in the scholarly community, as they provide some very interesting new perspectives on the past. These finds call into question long-held assumptions about the site's history because they indicate the existence of structures that date back to both the time of the Second Temple and the Byzantine Empire. A group of devoted archaeologists and researchers set out on an extensive excavation expedition with the goal of discovering the region's unseen mysteries. They dug deep into the holy grounds of the Temple Mount in their pursuit of this goal. The excavation discovered relics of architectural marvels as well as items that provide a tantalizing look into the daily lives of ancient civilizations. Up until recently, the predominant school of thought held that the Temple Mount was largely connected to the time period of the Jewish Second Temple. The newly discovered evidence, on the other hand, provides a more complicated picture, giving the impression of a history that was multidimensional and included the impact of the Byzantine period. This unexpected discovery has provoked extensive academic arguments, which have prompted academics to reconsider the historical narratives that have previously been established. The unearthed evidence is being thoroughly examined and interpreted by academics, and as a result, a fresh account of the historical significance of the Temple Mount is beginning to take shape. The juxtaposition of these two distinctly different time periods not only contributes to our comprehension of the cultural and religious significance of the location, but it also highlights the significance of ongoing research and exploration in order to solve the riddles of our distant past. The Temple Institute is unyielding in its pursuit of a red heifer, which is a precious and uncommon female cow that was utilized in ancient ceremonies for the purpose of purification. This quest is being conducted as part of the organization's ongoing efforts to achieve its aim of rebuilding the eagerly awaited Third Temple. Within the complex web of rituals and beliefs that make up ancient religious practices, the crimson heifer has a special meaning. It is a symbol of both moral rectitude and the expiation of crimes. The Temple Institute is an organization devoted to the preservation and revitalization of old Jewish traditions. As part of this mission, they have gone on a challenging journey to find a red heifer that is suitable according to the severe scriptural requirements. Tradition dictates that the heifer must have a coat that is completely crimson and free of any blemishes. This is an uncommon quality which has made it difficult to locate the heifer throughout the years. With each passing day, the people searching for a suitable candidate that would fit the sacred requirements investigate more remote places and confer with professionals in the field of animal husbandry in the hopes of finding such a candidate. Their unyielding pursuit is driven by a deeply ingrained conviction that the rebuilding of the Third Temple would usher in a monumental era of spiritual regeneration and restoration. Despite the fact that they are confronted with a large number of challenges and unknowns, the members of the Temple Institute have not wavered in their commitment to their holy mission. They have embraced the conviction that their efforts will eventually be rewarded with the discovery of the enigmatic red heifer, which will pave the way for the revival of an age-old practice and the writing of an important chapter in the annals of religious history. The birth of a prospective red heifer candidate in 2018 and the import of 5 red heifers to Israel in 2022 for the purpose of breeding have created enormous anticipation among faithful believers for the reconstruction of the temple. In Jewish tradition, the crimson heifer has a profound religious significance since it is an essential component of the rituals of cleansing that are necessary for the reconstruction of the ancient temple in Jerusalem. Religious writings stipulate that the red heifer must fulfill a number of requirements, including that it be totally red, free of any defects, and that it must never have been used to pull a yoke. When a red heifer that met these conditions was born in 2018, it created enormous excitement and intense hope among the faithful that the much-anticipated moment of the temple's restoration would finally be close at hand. This had been a long-awaited possibility. The following importation of 5 red cows in 2022 for the sake of breeding further heightened the excitement that was already present. These cows that were brought in from other countries were brought in with the intention of enlarging the gene pool and increasing the likelihood of generating more red heifer candidates who meet the stringent requirements. Many people see the birth of the red heifer and the importation of red cows as significant signals that this long-held goal may be getting closer to becoming a reality. This desire to restore the temple has been firmly ingrained in the hearts of Jews all across the world for many generations. Faith and expectation surrounding these events have bonded the community in a shared hope for the eventual reconstruction of the Holy Temple in Jerusalem, despite the fact that problems and barriers may lie ahead. The conviction that biblical prophecies would be realized has been the focus of heated discussion, particularly among Christians. As a result, a plethora of interpretations regarding the end of the world and the significance of the events that are taking place have emerged. Over the course of several centuries, a wide variety of religious experts and theologians have pored over the pages of the Bible, examining individual lines and paragraphs in an effort to decipher the hidden messages that lie beneath the prophecies. The idea of the apocalypse and the idea that Christ will return at some point in the future are two of the most debated subjects. Some believers declare that the signs of the end times are now taking place before their very eyes, and they refer to wars, natural disasters, and societal turmoil as evidence to support their claim. They contend that the occurrence of these events fulfills the biblical prophecies that prophesy the second coming of Jesus Christ and the day of final judgment. Some people consider these prophecies to have a more metaphorical meaning, while others believe that they have already been realized in historical circumstances, which highlights the risk of taking literal readings too literally. These contrasting points of view have stoked impassioned debates and even sown seeds of discord among members of Christian communities. In the middle of the disagreements, one thing that believers have in common is the aspiration to be morally upright and spiritually prepared, regardless of the particular interpretation they subscribe to. Many Christians' behaviors and perspectives on the world around them are directed by their conviction that the biblical predictions will, in some way, be realized in the future. This belief is considered to be a very personal and significant component of the Christian religion. The cultural importance of a recent water ceremony in Jerusalem, which reenacted ancient temple rituals, has captivated the city. The event was held in a prestigious historical location, attracting onlookers from all over. The ritual had been carefully planned to mirror the ancient rites that had been performed in the Holy Temple. Traditional garb was worn as people gathered to worship and dip into the symbolic waters. There was an air of wonder and respect as people reconnected with their ancestry and the traditions they had passed down through the ages. The event was led by elders and experts who explained its historical and spiritual significance at each stage. The celebration wasn't just meant to remember the past, it was also meant to teach the next generation about the heritage. It was a moving tribute to the customs that have stood the test of time and helped form the character of the city and its inhabitants. There was a palpable air of mutual respect and camaraderie among the attendees as the water ceremony progressed. This spectacular recreation proved the power of tradition and the importance of maintaining Jerusalem's cultural traditions for future generations. Thanks for watching. For more, kindly subscribe to our channel.